Hi, folks. My name is Keith Stickley with the Stickley Law Firm located here in downtown Hillsdale, Michigan. And I'm a criminal defense attorney. If you've subscribed to my channel for any time, you know that I try to make it a point to create regular content explaining legal concepts and strategies that might be quite complex. And I try and break them down for everyday people so that they understand what they or somebody they care about may be up against. And we try really hard to keep politics and emotions out of that conversation. But my video this week is going to be a little bit different because I've been getting a ton of messages, texts, DMs, even emails about the Minneapolis ICE protest shooting. And I need to be very clear. I am not here to speculate, and I'm not here to inflame anything. And I'm not here to tell you what to think about what happened. But I do think it's critically important that we talk about one narrow issue that I really think is getting lost right now, and it matters. One of the very few confirmed facts that we have at this point is that the individual who was shot was lawfully carrying a firearm. And that's not an emotional statement. That's a legal one. Now, I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I've been in courtrooms where everyone, media, social media participants, the public, was absolutely convinced they knew exactly what happened. And then the evidence comes out, and the story changes completely. And that's why I think it's so important that we are very cautious when opinions race ahead of facts. Now, adding to the confusion that's going on today, we're in a moment where edited video clips and selective angles and even AI-generated content are shaping the narrative almost instantly. I've seen it myself on my various social media timelines. That doesn't mean that video and images are useless, but it really does mean that confidence should be proportional to verified information. And right now, there's a lot more certainty in many people's opinions and posts than there should be. Here's the part that concerns me the most. The Second Amendment does not exist in a vacuum or isolation. In fact, it exists in direct relationship to the First Amendment. The right to bear arms was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to function, quite frankly, as a safeguard, especially when things like speech and protest and dissent against the government became inconvenient or unpopular. And in many forums, what I'm seeing right now is people who normally support the Second Amendment, they're suddenly asking, why would a protester have a gun? At the same time, those same people have defended armed protesters in other situations. That tells me something important. Our analysis of this situation is shifting based on who we're sympathizing with and not on true constitutional principles. And that can be incredibly dangerous. Now, I'm going to be very clear about something. Whether carrying a firearm at a protest is wise is a personal judgment call. But wisdom and legality are not the same thing. Someone's lawful exercise of a constitutional right does not become illegitimate simply because it makes us uncomfortable or because we dislike the context in which that right is exercised. And there's a huge human tragedy component here. None of this minimizes the reality that someone lost their life. There isn't any legal argument, any political position, any court process that's going to bring that person back. We need to keep in mind, we live in a constitutional republic. The rights we live under are intentionally uncomfortable, and they're meant to function as safeguards, not rewards for good behavior or ideological alignment. If we really believe these rights are the price of freedom, then consistency matters, especially when emotions are high like they are right now. Process needs to play out, facts should be established, and if wrongdoing occurred, accountability should absolutely follow. But abandoning our constitutional principles in moments of fear or outrage or disagreement or disgust is how we lose the very protections that we claim to value. So what do? Before we rush to judgment, we need to all take a breath and let the facts come out. We have to let the process work. And it's not a clean one and it's not a quick one. But we do need to remember why these rights exist in the first place. I'm not concerned with what side of the issue that you're on, but I do think we all owe it to each other and for the constitutional principles that we should all believe in, and recognizing that a large part of this is a human tragedy, that we need to take a deep breath before we jump on to whatever our preferred social media is and just start blasting the other side. Because in the end, that's the only way we're going to get through this. If you're dealing with a criminal issue in the state of Michigan and you need experienced counsel, my office is available. Otherwise, stay thoughtful, stay consistent, and stay grounded. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you real soon.